All right, hello. This is Alexander Wales. What are we doing today? Today is the exclusions document, as always. I mean, not as always, because eventually exclusions documents can be done. But we are working on the Psionics Exclusion Zone. It's just labeled Jurassic Park here. That's not going to be the name. I wanted to double check whether this place has a name. It is Old Gromsh, which I can include here. So what does it mean for this to be, and Old Gromsh is, I'm going to find it on the map too. Old Gromsh is right there. Only one on this continent. There's the skin magic. Oh, that's Leo. Yeah, it's like skin magic. I know that one. Old Gromsh is next to a river. This probably means it's pretty close to a city. And we're going to say this is OG easy. OG, of course, standing for original gangster. Yeah, that's I think there's a Second Empire one, like not one caused by the Second Empire, but one within the time of the Second Empire. We're gonna say this is. We're gonna say this is exactly 200 FE. Okay. So, what does it mean for something to be a Jurassic Park exclusion or a Jurassic Park exclusion? Spoilers for Jurassic Park. If you have not seen it or read the book, someone makes an amusement park that has a lot of dinosaurs in it, and it's like, wow, dinosaurs, and then someone's like, wow, like that's really dangerous. Like maybe you shouldn't do that. And then the dinosaurs get out and they kill a bunch of people. So we're just doing that. we're being derivative of Jurassic Park here because I think it's funny, and because in the whole of the exclusions doc, I want at least one Jurassic Park. I think it was Megan who suggested that, and I thought it was a great suggestion. So that's what we're going with. Before we start, Jurassic Park was one of the first like adult novels that I ever read. I read it in fourth grade, fifth grade maybe, and I loved it. And I read everything by Michael Crichton. And I was like, wow, this guy's so good. Like The Great Train Robbery I really liked. Rising Sun, it wasn't that good, but like he had really good pacing, I think, which appealed to me when I was younger. And then he wrote State of Fear, which is his like climate change denialism book. And then I was like, oh, okay, like that seems dumb, but definitely a scar on his legacy. And then he died not that long after writing State of Fear. Which, like, that book gets worse and worse as time goes on, in my view. Yeah, I watched Jurassic Park actually with my son, and who is 6, and he really liked the opening 2/3 of the movie because it is not really that much of a horror movie, or like a thriller even. Like the opening of the movie is just, hey, here's some dinosaurs. Isn't it cool that they're dinosaurs? And the dinosaurs don't start like killing people or like being a serious problem until relatively late in. Like it's got a lot of setup, and it's not setup, it's exposition and stuff, but it's just yeah, the beginning has the cartoon thing that Jurassic Park has a ton of exposition in it. The movie does. The book has even more. The book actually has a lot of, as I remember anyway, it has a lot of like rational fiction energy, because like partly it's about the dinosaurs, but it spends these long, long stretches with Ian Malcolm, who's a chaotician. He's like a mathematician, and he's explaining about how complex systems like are very hard to predict and control and stuff like that. And so huge amounts of the book are just given over to this like philosophical discussion um, of systems and mathematics and a bunch of other stuff. And not like that only barely relates to the whole dinosaurs in a park premise. It's very very it has rational fiction energy, which a lot of Crichton stuff does. He's just he was just wrong about climate change. And he got like he got lambasted lambasted for it at the time, and but it like looks so much worse now. Like 20, it's been 20 years since State of Fear was published, and then he had a guy reviewed it poorly, and he put that guy in his next book, and he's like, yeah, this is like a journalist who's a child molester with a small penis, which is like so incredibly petty, and like lowered my opinion of Michael Crichton even more. But he's dead now, so whatever. Um, Died of lymphoma, maybe. Anyway, moving on. Um, but yeah, Jurassic Park holds a special place for me as one of the first books, like the first like proper, not just like a Hardy Boys, Nancy Drew chapter books. Jurassic Park is one of the first actual books that I read, so I credit that for reading. No, that's just background on Michael Crichton. I feel like saying, "Oh, Michael Crichton's a great author," and like I really like a lot of his books. Uh, I think I would be remiss if I didn't mention that State of Fear was a black mark on his history, right? Like, I feel like if I send you off and you're like, "Oh, does Alexander Wales like is he like, oh, State of Fear is a good book?" No, I'm not like that. I actually think it's like because of the subject matter, like in terms of like plotting and pacing and character, it's fine. But to spend a book where you're arguing against against global warming, and you have as the bad guys people who are attempting to stop global warming, um, that's just like he's like the only person to have done that, and it was a terrible idea on his part. I don't know. It's I feel like if I say that I like Michael Crichton, I have to mention that you know I don't like everything about Michael Crichton. Death of the author and all that. I don't think about that in the context of Jurassic Park at all. Sorry, I'm gonna actually start writing. OGEZ. Oh, needs to be. There is a lot of repetition with these names and things. I'm gonna not worry about it. But I might change all of that in the edit, which would be a pain in the butt because there's like 70 of these. Um, so what's cool about this? What's cool about this is a different kind of hubris. This is the, like probably the only exclusion I think on the list that will have been created for the purposes, or the only bad thing that's where someone was trying to create something for the purposes of entertainment. It's going to have big psychic beasts. It's going to have right. That's the whole reason I started this list. And then we can talk about proto-exclusions in this entry as well. Very, very nice. Potentially. I mean, potentially it might suck. I try to be positive, but it might suck. You know what? I will check for dinosaur. Yeah, I think this is the only mention of dinosaur. Andromeda string was good. Congo was good. Sphere was good. Crichton also has like a really, really high hit rate for adaptation to film and television. Like he made ER, which if you are young, maybe you have no idea what that is, but it was a very popular medical drama TV show, which descended into some kind of suspect character stuff at times, but but yeah, Crichton has for movies has a really high hit rate, partly because of the way that he wrote. I also like Timeline. That's another Crichton one. Mm-hmm. Well, he was actually I don't know if he was ever a doctor. I think he was, but he at least went to medical school. Um, so he was very like science and technically minded, and a lot of his books have that rational energy of trying to of wanting to explain things to you, uh, like hey, um, yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of like science because he liked science and he liked that kind of stuff. Bishop, do you agree with me that it has some rational energies, or am I making that up? Um, okay. Here, we're just gonna end it right there, and then we will do our history. So Juniper mentions that the exclusion zone he thinks he might be in is Psionics. Yeah, see, I would reread it, and but I have so much stuff, there's so much stuff to like read, and like a reread of Jurassic Park feels like it'd be interesting, but also like I'm short on time. I'm trying to do too much, especially like in the last month or so. I've just been writing like 7 things at once, and like also trying to read. Kind of like stalled out toward the end of my book I was on, and I like want to finish it because I'm in the last like 75% of it. But the book I was reading, and I'm just always just like, well, I can write or I can read, and writing is better. I committed to changing it. I'm going to have it be different here. I did commit to changing that, yes. But I'm gonna have this one just be different because this is going to be not called a Psionics. I have a rocky history with Psionics that I'm not going to get into, but it's one of those things where very common in Dungeons and Dragons for psionics to be brought to the table, and it's this different, distinct thing from magic, and one player really wants it, and suddenly you have psionics in the campaign, and it works differently from other stuff. This is a 3rd edition 3.5 thing, but it is part of the, not joke, but is that psionics got proto-excluded over some like disagreement about psionics as a whole. I am actually going to check that psionics only mention of psionic. Yeah, there's no psionics in Worth the Candle. There's stuff that's close to it, but so it's not mentalism. We don't call it psionics. I kind of want a woo term. Not that this is... I want some alternate medicine. Yeah, I think we'll just call it the Elan Vital. Oh, except I need... I'll just copy that. Spectralism would be a good one too. These will be called Vitalists, though, which I don't believe has any overlap. for the vibrancy. I think that's, if it's not more correct, then at least it flows better. I actually need to double check what Raven says about proto. Okay, this is talking about the other ancients, so I think we're fine here in terms of continuity. Is the term proto-exclusion used here? Proto-Athenaeum. Athenaeum. Yeah, proto-exclusion included there too. So there are two mentions within the world-building doc and the work itself. So that's across what, like 1,700,000 words. Is that what it comes to total? Sorry, I'm just looking at this. Yeah, geez, it's 1.7 million words. There are two mentions of proto-exclusions, but we're gonna talk about them here. It'll be a third mention. Here we'll say with And yes, I am just copying this because I can't do accent marks on keyboard. I'm sure it's super easy. I just like it happens once every couple months, and it's easier just to copy paste. Because I'm lazy. Arguably, I'm not lazy. Sometimes I say I'm lazy, and people are like, "Oh, but you like did all this work." I'm like, "Yeah, but I didn't really want to. I just kind of felt compelled to." bum 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 bum. BE should be before Empire. But which is, yes, before the first Empire. I think it's, yeah. So like here, it's used on the timeline. I think it's literally is before Empire, and then FE is first Empire. And it's not BFE. I don't remember why I did that. I think maybe I was just randomly picking naming schemes that sounded nice to me. You know, okay, I'm gonna finish this and I'm gonna say some thoughts that I had while writing this, because I feel like that's part of why a person should tune into a writing stream, is to hear the writer's thoughts and how these things develop and stuff like that. I think that is what is interesting about a writing stream, if anything. I also don't think writing streams are super interesting, but I have been enjoying streaming. Sorry, I meant to say that at the beginning of the stream. I have been enjoying the streaming writing. I think it helps me stay at the keyboard and stuff. And I like explaining my thoughts in a way that doesn't feel like just howling at the void, which sometimes I do. And there's a Vonnegut quote. I can't remember the specific. He has a more pithy way of saying it, but that if you're happy, you should make note of it and make sure that you understand that you're happy and that other people understand that you're happy. Just to make your life better, I guess. It's maybe a form of cognitive behavioral therapy. Not that Vonnegut would have phrased it that way. Yeah, I'm not going to clap my hands because there's a microphone right next to me. But yeah. No, I mean, if you're happy, you just, say that you're happy. I think people like to complain. I like to complain. And then, like, you just don't say anything when you're enjoying something. And then, like, all you're doing is expressing negativity. So yeah, I've been enjoying streaming. I will probably keep this up even after this doc is done. I don't think I'm going to do the speedrun on stream because I want it to be... I'm gonna have to find a stream project, basically. I'm gonna have to find something that I feel comfortable streaming, that... Because, like, this is a single entry. Like, we'll be done with this today. So, like, it doesn't, like, you'll get the whole thing. You won't get a tiny piece of it. I mean, it'll be one entry of a longer document, but it'll be the whole thing. Looking toward whether exclusion had been a phenomena prior to. Oh, I have not done my hand exercises today at all. I'm going to do that real quick. Just really trying to keep my hands nice and stretched. Really trying to remember to do that before streams, but it is what it is. Yeah, and so right, that's much because I need to double check how old the world is. It is 30,000. Okay, I was correct. Yeah, they have a lot more written history than we do. Partly because they have longer lived races. So you figure for the elves, they live like, I don't know, 500 years or whatever. However long elves lived, I feel like that's written down somewhere. Maybe it's 1,000 years. That's only like 15 generations of 1,000 years each, and it's only 30 generations. Like, I have written records from 15 generations ago. You know, like Shakespeare was what, like 500, 600 years ago. I should know that. I was an English major. I should know that off the top of my head. I feel like, and I've like read a lot of Shakespeare. But like that's if you have longer lived species, then you should have longer written history, in my opinion. Because your language should change slower. You have people who take the long view of things, but yeah, they have a lot more. They have a lot more written history. I mean, patchwork and stuff, you know. Libraries got set on fire and whatever, but Yes. They were killed by a psionic meteor. So we're not calling it psionics. We're not calling it psionics because this is not technically this. I mean, it matches with psionics on the skill list, but this is not the psionics exclusion zone, and so I don't have to change one additional line because there are actually 2 lines that I need to change. Now I just need to change one, and it's not for the sake of integrity of the work. It's um, I don't know. It's more neat that way. Oh, and yeah, so Arb has more written history, but less actual history. It's only 30,000 years. And humanity's been around for 2 like modern biologically modern humans are like 200,000 years, I think. Maybe it's 100,000, or maybe it's 100,000 that we had some kind of civilization. I don't know. I would need to look at a timeline. I'm so much smarter off stream. I'm so much smarter on like asynchronous communication when I like things that I vaguely know can be things that I concretely know by just double checking them on Wikipedia. That's not smartness. That's just I appear smarter, I should say. Okay, now we get to the flies stuck in amber thing. Oh, I was gonna say, I don't think I'm doing this. The idea that I had, but I'm gonna talk about the idea I had because it's interesting. What I'm going with here is that someone was searching for evidence of what happened to the vitalists and the vital beasts and stuff, and they found these fossilized brains, and they used old techniques that are reconstructed and new techniques. And to like reconstruct these beasts, and the Elon Vital has like recovered enough to allow the resurrection of these beasts. Sorry, I just need to make a note. Cannot be resurrected. Bloodline magic, where whole bloodline dead. Okay, so there are no vitalists. So I was thinking about this, and I was thinking, okay, so we want a Jurassic Park, right? We want like amusement park that's gonna, in theory, have these resurrected vital beasts. Maybe someone wanted to do it because it's a piece of history and there's like scientific gains to be understood. But someone else thought, how are we going to fund all this? We're going to have a park that people can visit and pay money to, and it's going to be a one of a kind thing. and whatever else. So I was thinking about this specific thing, and I was thinking, my original thought, which is probably what I'm going with, is that they use these fossilized brains that have some record of the vital beasts within it, and the vital beasts are beings of pure magic and can be restored through that way. And it's at a park, and it's not that far outside of city, because the biggest problem with Jurassic Park is that like people have to fly to it, which makes like all the transportation costs associated with that is so much harder. I mean, it makes some sense, but it's I don't know, the whole plan for Jurassic Park was not very good. Anyway, this one is going to be next to a city, which is the plot of Jurassic Park 2, I think. So what I was thinking while I was writing this section is I was thinking that what you could have is that someone could just discover the exclusion zone. That there had been this whole time an exclusion zone of the Elan Vital, and it was discovered, and they decided to build a park there. And I thought, that's cool to have this example of an exclusion zone of something that's like thought excluded, does it have a zone or not? Turns out it does, and we found it. And we're building a park there. I thought that was cool. And I decided not to do it because I don't think it's that cool. I think it makes more sense to not have it that way. It's also not like a vital part of this, and there's already stuff about proto-exclusions here, so I think if we're going to have exclusion zone found after the fact, which I think actually already exists within the document already, I think it's going to be in a different entry from this one. But I do like that idea. I like that idea of something's excluded. We know exclusions usually have an exclusion zone. Usually they're right where some calamity happened, but not always. And, we find one 100 years later. This is the only place where this magic that stopped working. The only place where it can be used, and maybe we can try to, resurrect it within that area. Okay, moving on. In 194 FE. And yet, modern humans, 200,000. Civilization, 6,000. Okay. Yeah, that's definitely the kind of thing that I need to, double-check Wikipedia on. Did I say 100,000? Yeah, that was very wrong. But yeah, it is... that's crazy to think about, that, modern humans were around for so much time, and, we just have this brief slice of history where we've been like this. It doesn't make me feel small. It makes me feel precarious. That precarious feeling of, really, you would have expected us to, I don't know. It's a bunch of old arguments that I cared a lot about when I was a teenager. I care less about now, but it does give me that feeling of maybe this is just a blip, And what do we do with it? We write on computers. I don't know if I said that, but this is the only one we're doing today, because I told my mom I would go for a hike with her, and I scheduled that for later in the day when I have the time for it. But if I did two, there'd be a risk I'd get to the end of one of these or that I'd have to leave halfway through, and I don't want to do that. I want each stream to be like a complete thing. I really should be putting into the stream descriptions on YouTube, like, here's what we talked about, and this is what the exclusion was and stuff. That seems like work, though, and I think those videos are getting, like, 50 views, and I'm like, well, that would be nice for those 50 people, but it's like the work to how nice it would be for people is very low. I just want to do it for the sake of, like, correctness and good information and stuff. But I have a tendency to pile work on myself for no good reason, as I think you can see with this exclusion stock. It definitely has a lot of piled up work that, like, no one, I guess people have asked me for the exclusion stock even before I promised it as Patreon reward. But I definitely am doing more with it than I needed to. And it's good. I mean, I overall am happy as a first pass anyway. Or not first pass, but as a first draft. Should I change that to first draft? Probably. Okay. As a first draft, it's good. Or it's not good. I'm happy with it as a first draft. I think most of the entries will be will probably go in as is or close to it with maybe just a couple minor word changes. I think there's only a few that I'm gonna not rewrite entirely, but rewrite in part. And there's like 20 to-dos, which is not too bad. We're gonna push this back. We're gonna push this to... How long does it take to make a Jurassic Park? Are bulk steel and cement available? Bulk steel at this time is not. Bessemer process is not on here, but the Bessemer process for making bulk steel is not available. But you don't need bulk steel. You need fairly minor quantities of steel, which can be used by a steel magic to create Mage Stone, which is what you would use for like walls and stuff. So, yes, bulk cement is basically available through the known mechanisms. But yeah, I got my own like economy stuff to worry about. That's like totally different from actual history, just to make things hard. 187 FE might have been past Bessemer process. No, you don't need rebar for concrete. Mage Stone is strong enough that it doesn't need it. It's sort of like, well, it needs it at certain scales, I guess, but yeah, you can do it without. It's much stronger than concrete. And then there are like different varieties of Mage Stone based on the alloy of steel. Um, what limits rate of production? Almost nothing. The limit is labor of the steel mage, skill of the steel mage, and how much steel they have. Um, there's a side story for Worth the Candle that I never finished. I never promised it, I don't think, or I very lightly promised it. But it's pretty much done. But it's about a maid. It's a largely concerns a steel mage in one of the larger cities of Arb. Um, just going about her day. Hello, donkey. Clever donkey. Is it impolite to leave out the clever? It feels like it is. Sorry about that. Well, okay, so the thing is, Jurassic Park. One of the ways that Jurassic Park the movie and Jurassic Park the uh, book are very different is the character of John Hammond. And he's the guy who builds Jurassic Park. He's the white-haired guy. He's played by not David Attenborough, Richard Attenborough, who's David Attenborough's brother, I think. He's a white-haired dude with white, outfit and stuff. In the movie, Hammond is a very sympathetic figure who is like just trying to build this park, and he's a dreamer, and he's this refined guy who loves science and things like that. The movie is very, very kind to him. The character of John Hammond in the book is like, that's all front. That's why you come to the streams, so you can learn that Richard Attenborough and David Attenborough are, I think they're brothers. It's possible they're cousins, but this is another one of those things I would check on Wikipedia before I set it into chat. But the character of John Hammond in the book is, it is basically laid out that everything that happens is because of this guy and all the corners that he's cut, and he says spared no expense, and he's just like blowing smoke. But the book, and I don't really understand why that change was made in the adaptation, but it's harder to get the sense in the movie that this is what is happening, that Hammond has cut costs, that he's like just wants to get things done, that he's under a ton of stress because he's like overextended on this park and stuff. I think we are going with the more villainous John Hammond figure here, but this is going to be like a paragraph. There's already. Let me do a length check here, but 500 words. So this has already met our minimum requirement. I don't like these to go for longer than 1,000. I've already been streaming not quite an hour. But yeah, the character of John Hammond in the book, very villainous. His like gentlemanly grandfather role is more clearly revealed to be a front, an act that he puts on to try to like get people to go along with his plans and stuff. Oh, and he doesn't die. Sorry, spoilers for Jurassic Park again. But in the book he dies, and in the movie he lives. And then in the second Jurassic Park book, he gets resurrected, or it gets retconned because I guess I don't know exactly, but I think it was because Crichton wanted Hammond to line up. I think he wanted it to line up with the movie, so he retconned the second book retcons the first book. It doesn't like retcon. It doesn't explain how he died. I don't think. I think maybe it changes it a little bit. I don't remember exactly how the retcon goes, but anyway, that was digression time. It's a very interesting adaptational change that like shifts the blame from like clearly it was this evil capitalist cutting corners and whatever else, and then the movie's like no, maybe it was just that the scientists played God. Maybe it was the evil computer programmer, if that's what Nedry was. I feel like he owned a programming contracting company, but I guess he was also a programmer himself. I don't know. Nedry gets a lot of blame. InGen gets a lot of, or Genesis, or whatever they're called. They get a lot of blame. Okay. We're going to say starting in 9... We're going to... I just wanted to make sure that was with an H. Sorry, I'm going to just check. I was just double checking that his relationship. Yeah, David Attenborough is his brother. Okay. It is weird that they include his cousin, but not his brother. That's auto-generated information for you. So I'm going to just grab an anagram real quick. I'm going to see if there are any... Well... I was going to say Hammond, but that's Hamlet on a mountain, I think. And then John... Here. We're going to go behind the name. I'm just going to do a partial rename of John Hammond because I think it is funny. What does John mean? Meaning God is gracious. Okay. Here, we'll call him Viltor. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna roll for gender, male. I am gonna try to do that for the rest of the doc, because I'll try to roll for gender, where it's not important. In this case, I actually think he probably should have just been a man anyway. And then an equivalent of John is, I think I might just take a John from here. Like a not. Maybe Ivan? Ivan is maybe too Russian. Like Ivan is a, says here. We're going to say Yannick, which is close enough. So Hammond is, Mond means hill or mountain, and Ham is for hamlet. So the last name Hammond probably comes from village on a hill. So we're just calling him Vil Tor, Vil for village and Tor for mountain. If you're wondering how naming schemes like this work, is this clever? Not really. But it's a name and it's done now. So it is. Yeah, Yannick, I mean, if it were a woman, which is not, we would change this to a female version of John, feminine. Really? Are those the only feminines you're going to give me, like, this enormous list? Here, let's look at Yannick. We'd say Yana. I saw Automod is like, oh, you said female? Wow. Why would we add female? So that's been added as a permitted term. I've been slowly adding permitted terms as people just like chat and they say totally innocuous words. And Automod is like, whoa. I didn't install Automod or anything. I assume that's a default Twitch thing. But I haven't looked through their permitted words list, and I'm probably not going to. I'll just add on a case-by-case basis. But yeah, can't say female in Twitch chat by default. Yikes. Is the term female too... Okay, I'm not going to get into it. It seems super, super dumb to me. It seems offensive to me. That they would automod female. I am like personally offended. That's just so stupid. Okay, moving on from Twitch's whatever. I'm trying to criticize Twitch because I want those Bezos bucks. Moving on. And I don't believe that this city. Oh no, it is the city of Old Gromsh. Are we going to call it a park? Yes, we are going to call it a park. We're going to call it Alien Park. Whoa. Not that size. Ooh. So here's the problem with the copy-paste method of not knowing how to type characters with accents, because I never do it. So you gotta like find a capital version of it, which is not a huge issue. It's just makes me feel bad. What are we gonna call? We don't need a comma there. We don't need a comma here. We can have a comma there. And arguably should. I've heard that Twitch gets really not prudish necessarily, but I mean, not prudish, but that there are a lot of things that they're. Well, parks are a thing. Yeah, I've heard Twitch chat is bad. Could a sufficiently strong bone mage pull vitalism? Yes. Well, a fossilized brain is not. But it's one of those things I'd have to think about for like 5 minutes. Uh, I'm gonna say yes because it'd be cool. Like rule of cool, they can. Rule of cool, a bone mage can work with fossils, even though fossils are not bones, and that's because that's cool. Not because I think it is all that sensible. Or it's like maybe the definition of bone is just weird like that, where it doesn't have to actually be a bone, it just needs to be bone-like, and fossils count. Because a fossil is... I'm sure we already all know this, so I'm just saying it for whatever, but a fossil is what happens when a bone or other structure get replaced by minerals. Yeah, this would be a degrees of reasonable question, or degrees of reasonableness question. I think ship of Theseus logic makes sense, yeah. Because like how a fossil is made is just the bone slowly decays and washes out its cells, and what you're left with is essentially a rock cast or something. It's been cast by the cavity. Um, Villator. I think we are going to avoid any direct mention of Jurassic Park in this entry. This is absolutely a ripoff of Jurassic Park. That's what I think is funny about it. But I think if we say that he spared no expense, that goes one step too far. I think it would be fine to have a note from Juniper saying that he spared no expense. But we actually... the problem... degrees of reasonableness was made for Worth the Candle. I would never... If you actually include that in a game, I think you get lots of arguments and stuff like that. I did make a full system for it, or at least for the lower degrees. But it's like a wibbly wobbly system, just by its nature. The park should have the name of the period. Yeah, maybe. The problem is that if it's named after the period, I'd need to explain that that's the name of the period. which I could do. I just don't really want to. I think Elan or Elan Park. You know what? I need to figure out how this is actually pronounced instead of saying it both ways and hoping one of them is correct. Oh, you don't say the N. No. This is the pronunciation. Elan. Elan. Sorry, I'm just checking this because I get irritated when Elan nasalized. Okay. Elan Park. Elan Vital. Vital. Okay. I'm done with this. I'm done with pronunciation stuff. I hate pronunciation. That's why I shouldn't be a podcaster or a streamer. So I can just type my words and you can pronounce them correctly in your own head. Elan. Oh. Ooh, Pseudomorph. That is a great name. There is a part in Jurassic Park. I know I've talked about it. Whatever. This is a Jurassic Park stream. Deal with it. There's a part in Jurassic Park that I love, which is that they have these like this computer system that tracks all the beasts, and they're like, hey, we have the correct number of beasts, and then they realize that their tracking software like only returns as many beasts as it thinks are in the system. It doesn't like it's in theory capable of tracking other beasts, and when they finally like recode to deal with that use case they hadn't thought of, they realize there's a whole bunch of extra dinosaurs. I thought that was like so good. Partly because I'm a programmer by my other trade, writer by trade and programmer by trade, but that was one of my favorite parts in Jurassic Park. And even on like rewatch and reread, I'm just like, yeah, that is such a good twist. That like, you know, it's such a like obvious error that is totally realistic to make, that your system never, like, no one ever tested like what happens if we have an extra dinosaur, because you never thought that was going to be an issue. But yeah, that's my favorite part of Jurassic Park, is when they notice a computer programming bug. Yeah, I've been singing the Jurassic Park theme in my head, and like trying not to sing it out loud because no one needs to hear me sing the Jurassic Park theme. Um, Oh, I don't want a copyright strike. uh, no, no. You know what the Jurassic Park theme is, and if you don't, it's not going to mean anything to you. I think that one was John Williams. Yeah, there. It's presumably in chat, unless that's a Rickroll. I'm not going to check it right now. You never check links on stream. Not without, like, opening them in a separate tab first. Oh, is it the... I'm going to guess. Is it the kazoo one? Because I love the kazoo one. Or whatever it is. No, it's not a kazoo. It's a... melodica? I'm going to assume that that's what it is. Yeah. I know my memes. Okay, so I think that this is fine. I think that this is okay, so this section could use more. This section could use more text describing like how it happens. I will think about that on reread. So we just need to describe what it is currently like. I don't think that's going in. So vitalism is... Yeah, we will... Here, I'll put a to-do in. Because I know that's not... I know that needs work. Okay. And maybe I'll finish that on stream because I'm only doing one today. What does vitalism do? I think we are describing that in features, in fact. OGZ. And yeah, I do need to keep copy pasting this over and over and over. What a great use of time. It would be easier just to learn the alt codes or whatever it is that lets you do the accented characters. Emanates. Okay. No, not hundreds of people. Okay, so I'm just being super distracted right now. I need to finish this. What is this in American numbers, though? No, it's 60 feet. And yeah, I do get annoyed when Google's like, "Oh, you're like Google knows I'm American. Um, like why can't it just convert that for me? You know, like it knows that this is what I want. Like I don't know. You would think. Oh, it just said 60 feet down there too. No, I can convert from metric pretty well, and I do try to think in metric, but worth a candle, not metric. I made a decision that it wasn't going to be metric, and need to stick with that. Glenmorton had mixed metric and imperial, and people really, really hated that. It was meant to be mixed in the same way that, like, America is mixed, where scientific stuff is in metric, and metric is what Sander uses most of the time. And then a lot of other people use imperial, and it was like meant to be a translation convention, and then people just hated it. I don't think anyone enjoyed what I was doing there. But yeah, Worth the Candle is all in imperial because I didn't want that kind of reaction again. Even if I thought it was, a nice reflection of how measurement systems actually work. To have these like mixed units. Canada uses both. England uses both. Like they measure people in pounds. They don't measure people in kilos. America actually uses both. Like liter especially is pretty common in usage in America. Like there's not a single person who does not know who cannot picture in their mind what a 2 liter is. And then grams are used a lot, especially for like drugs. And then medical stuff uses a lot of that. But yeah, America does use a mix. I really wish we'd standardized metric, and then I could just like forget imperial and be fine. But alas, meters are not one I have very well internalized though. Yep, blood is in cubic centimeters, for sure. Drugs are in grams or milligrams. No, you can drink a 1 liter in a single sitting. If you want some gut rot. Okay, I don't think I'm just grabbed here because vitalism, the like magical practice, is supposed to be dead on ARP. Vitalism is basically psionics. I'm gonna get some images here. A yard is almost exactly a meter. If you convert yards to meters in your head, you are basically correct. Yeah, yard to meter is an easy one. Okay, so D&D psionics are like all mental effects. One of the most iconic, which I was going to try and find a picture of, is the soul knife, where you use this psychic. It's sort of like this thing. You use this psychic energy. Wow, this is not. Sorry, I'm not going to comment on someone's art. You use the psychic energy to like form a blade in your hand, or to like put armor on yourself. You can use it to get inside someone's mind. This is basically just what vitalism is. I'm not going to repeat psionics within the document itself, but you have these like, this is a neat picture. You have these like awesome like mental blasts and stuff like that. So within Worth the Candle, the mentalists, not the mentalists, the vitalists, as we're calling them, can use the energy of the Elan Vital. Yeah, it's almost always bald, guys. Because, you know, that way the hair doesn't get in the way of the mental energies. That's some world building for you. So they can, like, suck in this, like, pervasive psychic energy and use that power. They can extend their own energy into into this like web of psychic energy, and like use it to invade your mind that way. The noun is scion, but in third edition, which was what I was most familiar with, there's like 5 different types of psionics. I'm going to see. So yeah, you're like masters of the mind. You've got these stuff, but yeah, you have. Oh, well, this is complete psionics. That's not the book I want, but anyway, I'm not going to go into it too much, but the third edition had psionics, and 3.5 had psionics, and they were always like this thing that you added in on top of magic and separate from magic. And so I think in third and maybe in 3.5 you had like magic resistance, but then you also separately had psychic resistance, and they were these like two mostly incompatible systems that were overlapped on top of each other. It wasn't very fun. It was fun if you were playing it because you were like this super special psionic character, but then you had like psionic monsters to go with it. I don't know. It's just weird. I did not like it as a dungeon master pretty much at all. And that's why it's not worth the candle. That's why it got excluded before the story started. And this is going to have a note from Juniper. Okay, I gotta get this done. We're going to say the energy of. Ooh, that gave me deja vu for some reason. Well, they feed largely on the energy. Elan? Vital. Vital? I still don't know how to say this word. I've just repeated like 20 times in this entry. That's fine. And I'll never say it again. And yeah, we're going to have that note. Do I think that's fine? I think that's fine. I am going to change some of this. I'm going to say they're revived. Um, so I think that Annihilation Wards against Psionics would not work. And the reason I think that is by comparison of is just because of D&D. It's just because of the D&D influence. Like warders can detect it, but they can't ward against it is in line with how it works in D&D. Kind of. Like the idea of psionics not falling within the same neat system, the idea of psionics being like just this added on thing that does not mesh well with the existing mechanics, that to me is pleasing. Um, so I do say that warders detected the fossil thing or whatever. There's ways to reconcile that, but I'm not going to worry about it too much. Yeah, it could deserve a mention. I'm right now. This I mean Juniper's note on what happened with Reimer. Um, Expanded Psionics Handbook might be the one I'm looking at. I need to look at this. I do love that these PDFs are just like front page of Google, first result. So yeah, these are the classes that were in the Expanded Psionics Handbook, and this is a 3.5 book. I want to make sure that is not. And okay, I'm gonna need to double check that this is 3.5. April 2004. Yes, updated material from the 3.5 revision. Okay. And Soul Knife, I believe. That's what I want. I'm not using the file type PDF. This is just literally first result for this. And I actually didn't need to look at the PDF. I just wanted to find if that was actually the title of it. Expanded Psionics Handbook. Yeah, I'm not going to reference very much of the actual book. This is just a Juniper anecdote, which feels appropriate, and then I will go back and I will add in more stuff about the Jurassic Park stuff. All right, I gotta take a bio break, and then I will be right back. Okay, I'm back. Soul Knife from the Frogs. That's actually... That's not what I was thinking, but that is good. My only regret is that... is that I did not think of that. No, I've got lots of regrets. So... wouldn't it have shown up as excluded? Well, no. The problem is that if Psionics is not actually excluded, then it would not show up as excluded. It is excluded on Juniper's soul list, or soul skill list, Psionics is. So that implies that no, there are no Vitalists outside of the zone. But this matches what Juniper is saying, because Juniper does not know if Psionics actually matches to the zone. Okay, I think that's a cute end to this. Okay, I'm gonna do a word count thing now, and then I'm not gonna do one later, because we just need to add to the Jurassic Park element of it, because that's what we're here for. This is gonna be another long one. Ugh. I need to stop doing long ones. I need to do ones that are more like 500 words. Brevity is not a strong suit for me. I will admit that. Yeah, no, this was when we were doing it. This was in like this was legitimately in 2004. Like this was like right when this came out, and so we did not have all that weight of experience for how to handle all that stuff, and it's not a huge surprise that it went poorly because a lot of the rules were poorly made. Okay, so I am adding on to this, even though I said it was too long. I'm doing that. Yes, I am doing that. Because I guess, like, if you're doing Jurassic Park, this is like the money shot where the T-Rex escapes. I assume money shot is not. I wonder if I should be using that term. No, money shot, yeah. I don't want to be too, I don't know. The term has connotations, let's say. Hmm. Yeah. Regarding Psionics in 3.5, yeah. The problem was kind of it's stuff people know now. We were playing in 2004. We had very rudimentary forums to share stuff like that on. It wasn't a well known thing. Um, it was just a problem with how they wrote the rules, and then they're like, hey, you can house rule this, and the visitors were. Is that enough? I'm gonna reread this just one sec and. Breakout. Use vital like vital beasts is what they're called, but we're just going to reduce it to beasts there so that we don't have so much incredible repetition. I think that's better and fine. And I'm going to leave it for now, and I will revisit this on second pass. Old Grumsh is done. We're going to call it done. I like to just declare things done, and then I don't need to worry about them anymore. First pass is done. What was the other one I was going to do? I'm not doing this today. I can't. Moot. Moot is the... it's actually an NTAD, I think. Oh. I believe this is the anti-meme maker. Okay. Old Gromsh has a date to it. It does. It is 200 FE, right? Centennial or bicentennial. Let me say 200. think maybe mentalism is going on the docket for next time. Mentalism is probably on here. Fool's Guildspiel. Which I... Spiel. Guild Spiel. Okay. And this one is what's called mentalism. And is it major or minor? It is minor. Yeah. Geldspiel is German, just means gold game. Mentalism is from Dark Wizard of Dunkirk, which is a novel I wrote that is online and totally unedited. It was written over 3 years as my National Novel Writing Month, so it was written over 3 months. It's about like 160, 170 words. It's getting edited sometime. I would like to put it out as a book, like an actual book. I'd like to sell it to a publisher, but I need to edit it first before a publisher would probably be interested because it's very unedited. But mentalism, it makes a cameo in this exclusions document, and it makes a cameo in Worth Candle technically. And not called mentalism. Because I'm not changing that line. I think having mentalism, illusion magic, and psionics all be like on the list and excluded, and Juniper doesn't know. I think that's good. I don't think that needs to change. Okay. So am I done for today? Yes, I am. I have everything all set up. I want to check stats. Look at those wonderful stats. First pass. We have 41 in first pass right now. 29 not started. 8 of them story. I should probably do another story one soon. I like to spread those out because they're more work. Yeah, thanks for visiting. I will give you like 10 seconds, but I am off. I'm going to go for a hike. See you Monday. Probably you'll see me on Saturday. I will probably do a stream Saturday. I'm not for sure, but if I don't see you Saturday, then I will see you Monday. And yeah, that's it for me. I don't think I have anything more that needs to be added. I will try to be making a picture for this, and if I get a good one, I will show it to you next time. All right, take care.